Welcome Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric from CSN and we're doing this live stream tonight for two reasons. Obviously we're going to talk about the game, the game on Sunday afternoon against the Niners, but I also want to give you my projected cuts as we have to get down to 53 men on our active roster by tomorrow. So let's get right to it. If you're not familiar with how we format our live streams, this is what we do. We first go over what we call the rundown. So these are going to be our topics that we're going to be discussing in this live stream, followed by a Q&A session while I'll be taking your questions and we can have a discussion there in the chat itself. So if you have any questions right now, you can put them in the chat. We'll get back to them, or you can wait until we get to the Q&A part. So let's get right to this. First thing I want to talk about, as we do with our previous 2 weeks in the preseason, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And these are some of the observations. Obviously, this is not every single player. These are just some of the observations of some I wanted to make note of. As far as the good, I got to give a little bit of credit to Damon Arnett. He had a couple decent pass breakups, especially in the beginning against their starting team. A little insight to the game. If you didn't get a chance to see the Raiders-Niners game, the Niners started just about every starter they had until early-ish in the second quarter, and the Raiders did not. They didn't start anybody. Derek Carr didn't even make the trip. Nathan Peterman, the third-string quarterback, played the entire game, as he has throughout the entire preseason. I think there's probably a few that didn't play, like Brandon Ayuk for the Niners, but he's been injured, so they probably just kept him out as a precaution for week one. But pretty much Garoppolo started, and they were moving him and Trey Lance back in and out at the quarterback position on a couple drives. So I think Damon had a pretty good game, especially against the number ones. Another guy is Jimmy Morrissey. Now, he started at center for them. Andre James didn't start. Nick Martin didn't start. Again, there was a lot of not even second stringers for the Raiders, a lot of third string guys. And, obviously the Raiders didn't really care about this game as far as, the score. They wanted to get a final evaluation because there's a lot of, to me, we'll get into the roster cut down. I think there's a lot of players, and I'll talk about that could go either way, whether we keep them or not. And, hey, Dark Wolf Stan, glad you're here, as well as JoJo's. Thank you again. And anybody else who's listening, looks like we have a couple others that are here but are not in chat, and that's fine. You can go ahead and listen. But I think Jimmy Morrissey, he was a 7th round rookie pick. I mean, he's a 7th round pick. He's a rookie. I think he did pretty well at the center position, especially against the number ones. Let's get to the bad, and I kind of keep toting this now. The offensive tackle play, and yes, granted, we played against their starters, and the Niners' defensive line is definitely above average. I would definitely put them in the top 10, if not the top 5. Armstead was playing as well. They just didn't look good. Devery Hamilton didn't look good. Jared Jones-Smith didn't really look good. Alex Leatherwood and Colton Miller didn't play. So, understandably, but they didn't look very good even after the starters were out in the second quarter. As you watched the game, Peterman got sacked 3 times, a lot of rushes, and we'll get to that in a little bit. As far as another thing that I saw was bad was the run defense, both inside and outside. Again, it looked really bad against their starters because we had second and third string defense in there. Raheem Mostert just kind of had a field day in there. I think he had like 6 or 7 yards per carry for the game. I understand that, but even when they pulled their starters, it still wasn't very good, especially the interior. So as far as the ugly, couple things I want to mention here. Nevin Lawson, he just basically got owned by Jalen Hurd, who's, I think, at best is their number 3 wide receiver at best. He just looked awful out there, and I think he's going to get cut, and we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the roster cut downs in detail. And then the other one is Greg Papa. He was a former announcer for the Raiders when they were in Oakland. They summarily got rid of him. I think there's still some bad blood there with him. I was watching the game on the 49ers feed, and he announced the game. He got hired by the 49ers now. And they would score, and they scored. They went up 14-0, but they had all their starters, and we had maybe, if you count Tanner Muse as a starter at the Sam position, maybe. I mean, very little. And he was like, you know how he used to do his touchdown Raiders, and the second touchdown, he goes, touchdown San Francisco. And it's just like, and he was just like talking smack about it. And it's like, really? And then later on, he mentioned, well, you know, these are the 49ers starters. John Gruden's not playing the starters, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, yeah, it's on NFL Network right now, Dick Vitale. Are they showing, I'm assuming they're going to be showing the 49er feed because it was at home. So yeah, Malcolm Kuntz, he's a nominee. I'm real concerned about him. Yeah. I mean, there was like I said, Dick, it's difficult to assess because like Jerry Green, he's not a starter. And he didn't look good at all anyway, but definitely against the starters. They have a couple good tackles, Trent Williams and McGlinty, the other guy. And they were playing in the beginning of the game, the Niners offensive tackles, and they didn't get really any pass rush then, and they didn't really get it during the whole game. They didn't have any sacks for the whole game, so that was a little concerning as far as the backups. But again, they're not going to be starting. Yannick Ngakoue, Max Crosby haven't played a down this preseason, so I would like to have seen some of the starters play in this game a little bit. Especially the defensive guys. I know they don't want to get hurt, blah blah blah, but it's like, well, we don't really know what we have until we play the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and with his running ability, it's going to be difficult. Again, I would also say Nathan Peterman could be in the bad or the ugly category. He was 18 for 29, 175, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a bad pick. But he looked kind of shell-shocked out there. He really got throttled, especially early on against that starting line, that defensive line. And he was just making a lot of erratic throws. So you could have put him in that bad or ugly category as well. Malcolm Kuntz, yeah, I would say I'm a lot concerned with him. I talked about that in my last live stream, and that's due to the fact that a lot of people were saying he was too light for the league, and it kind of looks like that. And not only that, where's the speed? I mean, Trey Lance was running right by him. I don't see it. I mean, either be big or be fast, and he's kind of neither, and that's really concerning to me. If you did watch my I do a bold predictions video for the last 2 weeks. I did one this time, kind of as a joke. I did it with the 49ers, and we can go over some of these quote-unquote predictions. The first one, drunk, dumb, and happy. Yeah, that's all but guaranteed. Especially after that second touchdown with the starters in. They panned to the crowd in the end zone, and like the Niner fans were like talking smack to the Raider fans. It's like, those are your starters, idiot. It's like they're playing the backups. What are you talking smack for? Jimmy G, he did not get a hangnail. He almost got his neck broken diving in for a touchdown. The first touchdown in the game Tanner Muse almost took his friggin' head off. It's really stupid to do, especially in preseason. And then Trey Lance, he almost had a fumble. That I wouldn't have counted that on him. The snap was kind of low, and then he tried to bounce it. Kind of was trying to grab it, and it was kind of like a grease pig. Kind of bounced in the air, but they did manage to retrieve it. So, but of course the first one wasn't really bold. That's pretty obvious due to the nature of their fans. All right, let's talk about the roster cut down. Right, they had to cut down to 80. I told everyone yesterday that Trey Lance. Yeah, I talked about the hangnail on Garoppolo, and Trey Lance did get his finger poked on a rush. I forgot who was rushing. It was on the interior. He got hit. He didn't get sacked, but he got hit. So let's get to the roster cut downs. So obviously what I did was I just basically used my matrix. I went to their website this afternoon to update it in case they started cutting players. I know the Chiefs have already started cutting some players. They have to get down to 53 from 80 by tomorrow, I believe at noon So that's the league rules. So what I did was I just took my matrix here that I've had before. I did keep the color coding for the rookies so you can see them in red, but the other ones, I just put the defense in black with silver trim, and then I just kind of did the opposite for the offense to just try to keep better track of this, a little better color coding. He's out for a week with a fracture. Well, I'll take a half a point for my bold prediction, even though it wasn't Garoppolo, it was Trey Lance. So I got 1.5 on that. I'll take that. So here are the positions. I kind of roughly put them here, and basically we had 79, and we got to get to 53. And so that means we got to get 26 off the active roster. So the first thing I did was, I'll show you, I put these here. Obviously, Morrow and Javen White are out. I'm assuming they're going to be on the short-term IR, so they're going to be off the active roster. Darren Lee was already on the reserve injured list, so he might be there as well. So I'm going to assume those 3 guys aren't going to be in the factor of whether or not we keep them on the active roster or cut them. Obviously, we're not going to cut Morrow. That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. It would make more sense to put him on the short-term IR, save up a space for somebody else, and then make room for him during the season when he can get back. So the next thing I did was I went and just put X's next to the players I think are going to be gone. The ones that are kind of in the yellow and the red are to me, they're pretty sure that they're going to be gone. The ones in the purple, I'm not quite sure, and I'll get to those. Let's talk about it by position groups. So the safeties, Dalvin Levitt has had a terrible preseason, not very good. I think we're just going to roll with the 2 there. Roderick Teamer, he's done pretty well. I'm not sure if we're going to keep 5 safeties on there. I mean, he could also play special teams. So that one's kind of kind of a tweener. I'm not quite sure on that one. Hey Chevy, how you doing? I hope I don't see that in the regular season. They were the backups, so I don't take too much stock in that. Plus the Niners, they have a good offensive and defensive line. So, like I said, if you saw my bold predictions, I would kind of expected the Niners to win the game. I did not expect us to not start so many backups, not start so many starting players. I knew like Carr wasn't going to play in that, but we basically just started all the third stringers. Hey Sandy B, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. We're just getting into the rosters, who I think will be cut. So these are the ones I think we're going to be putting on an injured status, injured reserve, probably short term. Darren Lee was already there. Nevin Lawson, like I said, the good, bad, and the ugly. He's had he was pretty bad. I think he's not going to make the team either. I put these here, Richardson and Bilal, just because we don't have the linebacker depth. So they could go. I know Richardson had like 11 tackles in the game. He did pretty well, but I think he could stay or go depending on, like I said, we don't have much depth. We have 3 linebackers that are hurt. Let's get to the corners. Let's go to the corners. Ren Wilson, I think, will be a casualty. Keyshawn Nixon will be gone. I could have probably put Isaiah Johnson here as a maybe. I know he played yesterday. Got that pass interference call. It probably was a PI. It was kind of iffy, but it definitely would have been called, especially against us. Well, yeah, he's a middle linebacker, so it is what it is. I know Diablo, there's kind of mixed reviews on him. I know he got 9 tackles, but a lot of people are saying he didn't look too good. I mean, this was like literally his first game at this level since he's been hurt. He kind of came back. So, and then there's some questions here as far as the defensive line. Jerry Green, I don't think played very well. He'll probably be cut. Didn't see much of Dickerson. Kendall Vickers is okay. He's kind of a tweener. Now Scott's probably like a third string guy at best. And they're going to want to keep McCoy. McCoy, a lot of people are saying he looked good. I mean, he got some pressure. You could tell he's still a little rusty out there. wins the final decision on the roster. That is tomorrow, I believe, at noon. All the teams have to cut down to 53 from 80. So I'm thinking, and then Solomon Thomas, to me, and it didn't really impress to me. I think he could go as well. I like Phylon way more. I think he's a lot better player. I would expect more from that. I'm waiting for the news on cutting Lawson. Yeah, he's right here. I think he's a definite cut. Terrible game on Sunday. And let's get to the offensive side here. So let's go inside out or outside in. So we'll talk at the tackle position. Omanye had a terrible game week 2. Just terrible. Hamilton didn't look too good yesterday. And Palasi, I think he's not that good anyway. I still am very, very concerned at the tackle position. Other than Miller and Leatherwood, our backups are terrible. Yeah, I think McCoy showed that he could make this team for sure. Coming back from the injury, and I wouldn't say he was amazing. He did get some interior pressure. Didn't get any. It wasn't on the score sheet as far as sacks or tackles, but still a good game. His first game, kind of coming back. You could tell he's not quite there yet, but I think down the road, I think he could be a starting defensive tackle for us. And then I kind of put a kind of in between with Hamilton. I would like to get rid of him, but I'm kind of questioning how many tackles we're going to keep. Are we going to keep 4? Are we going to keep 5? Obviously, we're going to keep Miller and Leatherwood. Brandon Parker, they love, which I have no idea why. And Jared Jones-Smith will probably be there as far as, our 4th best tackle. But I think we're going to keep at least 4, maybe 5. And then the other one here I'm not sure about is Lester Cotton. Not to say he's a bad player, but I don't see them cutting anymore. How many guards or how many interior offensive linemen are we going to keep? I'm guessing 6 total. I mean, these 3 are starting. You could say maybe John Simpson. There's been rumors about that. So maybe either him or Cotton could go. They're kind of a fringe. I don't think we keep more than 6 interior offensive linemen. And then let's get to the running backs here. It's been well rumored that Jalen Richard's not going to be coming back. They could save some cap space on him. I believe like $3 million. Trey Regis looked pretty good out there. He's looked good all preseason. Again, these are like number 3, number 4 guys. We have Josh and Kenyon Drake here as our 1-2 punch. So, I mean, you could put like Emmons. I mean, he had that fumble even though we recovered it yesterday. He would be a casualty and they'd keep Richard. I'm not sure, but I think we're only going to keep 4 running backs, and these are the 4 I think we would be keeping. As far as the tight ends, I think we're only going to keep 3. Obviously, Waller and Moreau would be solid. No one's going to question that. Derek Carrier is a good blocking tight end, and Gruden loves that, so I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I know there was some hype with Bushman, the rookie out of BYU. Maybe practice squad. Like I said, this isn't like they're going to be gone. Some of these guys will probably end up on the practice squad, if they're not picked up by another team. But I don't think they're going to make the 53-man active roster. And then the wide receivers. I mean, it's difficult. A lot of people were rooting for Dylan Stoner. I know Keelan Dawson's looked decent in preseason. DJ Turner can return. But I mean, we've got so many at the wide receiver position. I know there's been talk about maybe Zay Jones or Willie Snead being cut. I'm not so sure about that. More so, I would say Snead than Zay Jones, because we probably want more speed. Other than I've heard John Brown possibly getting cut as well as rumored. So I'd want to keep some of that speed. Alongside with Ruggs and then Edwards and Waller underneath. So this is what I have as far as who I think will be making the 53-man roster. Well, let's hear what you have to say about that. What do you guys think about this? Would you make any changes to what I've done here? Let's see. Blew up the starters. Yeah, I mean, he was getting some pretty good interior pressure there early on in the game. I'm watching him in their backfield every play. Yeah, I think if he's healthy, I mean, he could be a little bit of a steal, a free agent steal for us. You know, I think that was. I'm wondering. He only got like $1.5 million. I'm wondering why nobody else signed him. Because I mean, we picked him up late, like during the preseason, so it's a little weird for a former Pro Bowl guy. Basically, you know, he was kind of the heir apparent to Warren Sapp. Obviously, I'm not gonna expect him to be playing at that level at this age, but compared to what we have interior wise, you know, he could be playing alongside Hankins at the tackle position. So you still think Dick Vitale says Jacobs, Drake, and Richard. So you think we're only going to keep 3 running backs? See, I'm not sure about that because Coach Gruden wants to run the ball a lot. I think we're going to keep 4, and maybe we'll keep Richard and Regis. Hopefully. Oh. How bad is Jalen Richard? That's the question. And if it's why not put him on? If they're going to do that, why not put him on the short-term IR if they're going to keep him? He's out indefinitely, however long, whatever that is. So it almost sounds like they don't want to keep him. Alec Ingold. Well, I didn't count that. I didn't count that as far as running backs as a fullback. They only have 1 fullback, so he's pretty much secured. He's not going to go anywhere. But I think we'll keep 4 running backs out of the 6 here. Any other questions on this as far as it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, you know, it's like anything else. It's like, you know, some are like no-brainers like Nevin Lawson. I mean, he's played Dalvin Levitt that second game against the Rams. He was just god-awful. You know, and then you kind of get the maybes. Like I said, I don't like our offensive tackles. I haven't really enjoyed them other than Leatherwood playing in the preseason. Colton Miller didn't play at all in the preseason. He doesn't really need to. Regis practice squad. Could. We'll see. I'm like I said, I'm very interested if they're going to, especially with the 17-game season, and then you got the lingering COVID thing. And if you want to run the ball, you know, it seems like the team's kind of built to do that, especially with like Incognito. He's like a beast in the running game. They brought him back. So, you know, and you got 2 monsters on the outside at tackle. So, yeah, I still think they're going to keep 4 running backs with Ingold. And they're going to keep 3 tight ends because they want to run the ball. They'll keep Derek Carrier on to run the ball. But remember, they will be with other starters. Yeah, of course. But he'll be like the number 4 guy. So I wouldn't want to get rid of him. Like say Jacobs gets hurt again. I mean, Jacobs has kind of gotten hurt either the beginning of the season or worn down the first year. He wore down at the end of the season, and then last year he was kind of like early to the middle of the season, kind of hurt and came back. I mean, I would want Drake and Regis there. Jalen Richard, when's he going to come back? You know, when's he going to come back? I don't know. Nobody knows. Are they just going to if that's the case, just put him on IR. If they want to keep him, they could just put him on IR, either short-term or for the year. So, you know, but the rumors are that, you know, he's going to be cut. So that's telling me they don't really want him. If that's the case, Trey Regis is definitely going to make the team. O-line. So let's get to the Q&A right now. We'll talk about this. Hello. So if you have any questions about what I went over right now, or if you have any questions about the Raiders in general, the football season, anything else you want to talk about on here, we can talk about it now. So put your questions down there below. Again, the Raiders did lose the game yesterday, 34-10. But I mean, the starters spotted them 14-0 lead, and then I think all that rushing kind of got Nathan Peterman jolted. If you look, he was just overthrowing people left and right. Did you already say who you think will go? Yeah, I already did, Sandy. This is so this is the breakdown right here. I'll go back to it. So if you look here, the ones with the X marks are the ones I think will be cut tomorrow. So this is by position. Offense here in the white, and then the defense in the black. The special teams, the specialists, they already re-signed these guys. They're not going anywhere. I don't see them cutting any of these guys, so we're not even going to talk about that. And then the 3 guys I think they're going to probably put on the short-term IR list. Dick Vitale says, the real question is, how did these guys look O-line in practice mixed with the other starters? Oh yeah, for sure. But the problem with some of these guys is they look terrible against backup players. So, you know, like Lawson yesterday, Jalen Hurd owned him, just outright owned him. It was kind of sad. So I don't see him there. I think Nate Hobbs has earned the that nickel corner position, the inside corner position. He's probably going to be starting there. That's might be why they put a Meek on the outside, to see what he's got on the outside. Thanks. Will be interesting to see how your own predictions work. Well, I'm probably obviously not going to get all of these right. Some of these are kind of no-brainers. I think Solomon Thomas would be a bit of a surprise since we gave him $5 million. To me, that was a surprise, giving the guy $5 million. I think these two are absolutely no-brainers. Ren Wilson's only played late. Kind of like Rasul Douglas. I think Douglas played better than him. That's not saying a whole lot, but they already cut him to get down to 80. And then some of these other guys. It'd be interesting to see at the linebacker position, since we're so thin. If they keep, I could see them getting rid of both these guys. I'm not saying they're good, but they might just keep them because of depth, because we're hurt so much at the position. See, and then so the big things that concern me for this season, as far as the roster goes, is the depth at tackle. You have to hope that Miller and Leatherwood stay healthy. That worries the heck out of me. And then the other one is just a feel for what the defense we have. We didn't really see much of it during the preseason. So it'll be interesting to see where it's at once we played the real games. Yeah, Meek Robertson looked pretty good on the outside, so I think he'll stay on. I don't think he's going to start, but I think he'll stay on. And it's pretty good. I think he could play inside or outside if we need him, which might make Isaiah Johnson expendable. Right here, we could get rid of him and keep one of these other guys. I could see that as well. But these are the guys I would probably get rid of. If I was Gruden and Mayock. Let's see. Hey, Raider Wolf, how you doing? Glad you could be here. Dick Vitale says all NFL teams are really in the same boat regarding offensive tackles. Yeah, for the most part. Honestly, I would be worried if I was Patrick Mahomes right now. If you've seen him, it looks like a continuation of the Super Bowl. He's kind of running for his life. Those tackles are not impressive, and our division can get after the quarterback. I think all 3 teams, other teams in that division, can get after him. So I really think I seriously think we have a shot at winning this division. If it depends on how the defense goes. I mean, I would say it's kind of a stretch, but because the wild card is the defense, I think the offense is solid. Um, as long, of course, if we don't get hurt, I like Waller. I like Moreau. Um, Obviously, we have so many weapons. I think Ruggs and Edwards are gonna kind of give us a nice year or two bounce back. Do you think we will keep Richard? Don't know if we covered that already. Raider Wolf. Yeah. So this is the breakdown of what I think we're going to be doing. So the little red crosses here means I think we're probably going to put these guys on like a short-term IR. Some of these, Darren Lee's is already on the injured list already. Nicholas Moreau and Javen White, we already know that they got injured. They're probably going to be on the short-term IR is my guess, so they won't be counted as the 53 active roster. And then these X's are ones I think will be gone. And then the ones in purple I'm not so sure on. It can kind of mix around for various reasons. Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see tomorrow how this shakes out. I would say the big ones here are in question is Richard. Are we going to stick with him and put him on an IR? Or just give him his outright release at this point? I'm thinking we're going to release him because we signed Kenyon Drake. We gave him some pretty good money. And Trey Regis has looked pretty good. I know it's against, kind of substandard competition, but still pretty good for a number 3 guy. I mean, you roll with Jacobs and Drake as I would say almost like a committee status, maybe 60-40, and then bring if you're going to keep Emmons and Regis in, just keep them, bring them in here and there. The other ones on the offense, I'm like, I know Parker's going to make the team. They love him. I don't know why. To me, every time I see him out there at tackle, he's the best swing tackle in the league. That's what Gruden said. I'm like, do you need to get some glasses, sir? Because I do not see that. I see him getting burnt left and right. I think we have a good chance. Raider Wolf says, I think we have a good chance of beating the Ravens. Their receivers are banged up. Yes. Yes, and don't forget, the whole team's getting banged up. But I did that scheduling one a few months back. I think it was right after the draft. I did a schedule prediction, and I had us losing to the Ravens in week 1. And I know I got a lot of flack for that. I got a lot of thumbs down on that video, but I was assuming they were going to be at full strength, and I would say they're going to. I think we could win this game now. So I guess Gus Edwards is going to be their starting running back too, because J.K. Dobbins got hurt, and he's out for the year. Lamar Jackson can still run the ball. It's like one of those things, but are they going to be able to pass? I mean, they got Andrews and who else? Nobody else. I don't think. I don't even, I couldn't tell you another receiver on that team. So, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll put out another video probably this weekend for, I'll update my, my prediction for the season. We must destroy the Dolphins. I want them dead. Why all the hate on the Dolphins there, Raider Wolf? You got J.K. Dobbins is out for the year, so Gus Edwards will probably be their starting running back if you don't count Lamar Jackson. So, everybody playing fantasy football who had Dobbins just like crap their pants, I think. It's another reason you don't have your draft early. Just a fantasy note. what was the preseason stats for wins and losses. The Raiders ended up 2-1. Played pretty well against Seattle. The Rams were good, but neither one played any starters, and they won by a point because the Rams didn't want to tie. They got the touchdown. They went for the 2-point conversion and didn't get it. And then the Niners, the Raiders started basically third string guys mostly. Like I said, Tanner Muse, Arnett played, if you count him as a starter. Other than Daniel Carlson, AJ Cole, like the punter and the kicker. I'm trying to think if there were any other starters or projected starters week 1 that played. We didn't see. Trying to think. No, I can't really think of anybody else who I think will be starting week 1 that played. But the Niners started their starters until early in the second quarter. And they were up 14-0. And they ended up winning 34-10. So yeah, none really. Yeah. I mean, if you count Tanner Muse, if you think he's going to start, because Morrow's hurt, you count him, he played, and Arnett played. And that's about it. I'm just wondering, yeah, I have a buddy that's a Dolphins fan. Raider Wolf says he's been dissing us ever since they beat us. They didn't beat us last season. We beat ourselves. I mean, come on. Friggin' Arden Key face mask. That nonsense. I did a post-game video on that, and I just basically had a rant over that. It was just a joke. I think the defense fell apart. I think I bitched at Gruden for being too predictable, especially in the red zone again. Let's see. Sandy B says, I don't like the Dolphins either, Raider Wolf. Yeah. Who does like the Dolphins? Screw them. Dick Vitale says, McCoy might be the best defensive tackle we've got. Yeah. I like Hankins at the one technique. Again, I'm kind of surprised that one of these 3-4 teams didn't go after him and try to sign him. Not to say he's like the best, one technique guy in the league, but still pretty solid. McCoy, yeah. I mean, we went, and I've said this in previous videos that, this other defensive tackle position, like the interior rush position, the 3 technique, it's over here. It's almost like we've been throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks, We got Quentin Jefferson, Irving, Solomon Thomas, Phelan from the Chargers. And then we get McCoy late. I mean, preseason late. And it's just like we're just trying to figure that position out. So maybe we did. I don't know. I'd like to see him get up to full. I don't think he was at full game speed, game shape, so to speak. But he did look pretty good. Let's see. Raider Wolf says, I told him they had a hard time beating our worst defense in franchise history. And it gets back, honestly, it gets back to 2. And I talked about that in the game review last year. Tua looked awful. The drive stalled. They weren't doing anything until Fitzpatrick got in that game. So, let's see. Hi, Afkasi Raider. Is that how you pronounce it? Welcome. Let's see. He says, could see Cleve Farrell getting traded. Maybe a linebacker. We're in desperate need of some depth or even another starter. I'd rather not. I mean, he plays. I honestly don't see that happening. It could. I mean, I've heard the rumors of that as well, but here's the thing with Farrell. He can play and or tackle. He can play interior if you need him to, and he's really good against the run. He can seal the edge. I think more so against Max. Max is more of a pass rushing type guy. Again, that kind of gets back to this. Was Cleve Farrell worth the 4th overall pick? No, obviously not. He was not on the level of Nick Bosa, even though that Gruden and Mayock said it right after the draft. Complete, just shoveling the horse shit. Bloop, bloop, bloop. We know that. That doesn't mean he's a bad player, and it's not his fault he got picked there. It's Gruden and Mayock's fault. So, I would rather not trade him, to be honest, and roll with what we have. I mean, if we're going to do that, why not go after KJ Wright then and try to get a deal going? If we're going to do that and keep Farrell. Let's see. Raider Wolf said, I mean, they barely won that game. Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't like the conservative style, and I said that during the review, but still, we probably should have won that game anyway, and we gave up that big passing play and the tack on of the face masks. Yeah, it was an absolute joke. Dick Vitale says McCoy blew it up on the starters on the 49ers both sides, and they're supposed to be good. Yeah, they're pretty good. I would say their tackles are much better. I think the interior's a little. I'm not going to say they suck, but they're probably average. So, yeah, it was a good showing for McCoy. I think he'll definitely stay on the team. They'll definitely make a space for him, and I think he could fit right in that D tackle spot, which, like I said, that kind of puts Solomon Thomas here. I mean, sign him for 1 year, $5 million. Come on, that kind of reeked of desperation. We gave McCoy $1.5 million. It's ridiculous. Raider Wolf says, I like Cleve Farrell a lot. We were winning games with him and losing when he was out. Yes. No. Yeah. Again, I think he's a very solid player. Definitely a first-round player. Maybe not the fourth best. Devin White, I think, was better. Would have been a better play for us. I think he's a better player. Obviously, they play different positions. But linebacker versus end. But still, he's still good. Dick Vitale says, I'm rewatching the game right now, and he went right through the starters. Yeah. He was getting pressure in there. The problem was, they would just either scramble to the outside, even freaking Garoppolo looking like he could run. And, of course, Trey Lance, Raheem Mostert looked like a Hall of Famer against our second and third string, especially the outside. It was embarrassing. Oh, that was so embarrassing. He looked way better than he is. So okay, if there was one player on my list here as far as the ones we're going to release out of all of these, which one would you say? If you haven't mentioned it before, I know Dick Vitale talked about Jalen Richard already, but if there was one player that you would if you would remove and say no, we're going to keep him. You tell me which one you would do, and then tell me, okay, well, if I take him off, I gotta drop somebody else that's not here on the list. So let me know that. And Dick Vitale says, I wanted Devin White. Bad. He's great against the run, but terrible against the pass. Well, yeah. And, I mean, he had a great postseason. I know, talked about that before. You could attribute it to having good talent around him, but I think he still would have been better for us. But I mean, it is what it is. I think they really like Nick Morrow, and Corey. They went and got Kwiatkowski. They threw a bunch of money at Corey Littleton, and he really hasn't done anything to really earn that money, to be honest. So I think they wanted to get more pass rushers. They thought Cleve Farrell was right there with Nick Bosa, and I was like, what? No. So, they'll never admit to that, but I remember them saying it right after the draft. They'll never admit to saying, yes, we were wrong about that. He's not on the same level, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so which player on my list here? I'll put my beautiful face off of there so you can see the whole screen. So if there was a player you would say, nope, no champion, no Eric, I'm not going to be cutting him, one of these X's here. You tell me which one, but then you got to tell me, okay, who are you going to drop instead, right? Because we got to get to 53. like I said, if they keep Richard, they'll probably cut Edmonds. I see Regis making the team. Like I said, I think they're going to keep 4 running backs because they want to run the ball like crazy. I don't count Ingold as a running back. I count him as a fullback. They only have 1. They're going to keep him around. It's just the way Gruden is. That's his style. It is what it is. So who do you guys think that we would drop, or we would want to keep here as far as the ones that I said we would drop? We should keep Jacobs, Drake, and Ingold. Put Regis on the practice squad, and so you would cut Regis. Okay, so you would cut Regis, and then sign him to the practice squad, and then put Richard on IR. So that gives us an extra spot then, right? So you're essentially removing 2. You're essentially removing 2 for 1. You're cutting Regis instead of Richard, but you're putting Richard on IR. So that takes him off of the active roster. So, okay, so who would you keep then? Off this list that I have, you could keep an extra player, basically. It'd probably be a lineman, offensive lineman is my guess. Maybe Roderick Teamer, I don't know. He's probably a practice squad guy, if I had to make a guess. Maybe one of these linebackers, because they're so friggin' thin. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I'm sure every year it's tough for all teams. There's some are going to be gone, and then maybe 5 or 10 that are kind of iffy. It could go either way. Kind of similar talent level, depending on the need of the team, etc. Nassib, is that a question? Is Nassib actually good? He's okay. I think if you've seen some of my other videos, if you've seen Gus Bradley talk, he talks about having, quote, waves of pass rushers. So I would put Carl Nassib as a part of our second wave of pass rush. So I think for that he's okay. I don't really necessarily like his contract. He probably has the worst contract on the team. Okay, so pick up one of the other linebackers. Either are we going to keep Richardson or Bilal, or are we going to go after a linebacker, either KJ Wright, or maybe somebody else drops after tomorrow? That could be an option as well. Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that, but I'm a little concerned with just keeping Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs. Especially, you're putting Richard on the IR. Obviously, he can't play early on, so you're only going to have basically 2 running backs. Let me check the 40 times. Al Davis isn't running the team anymore, Dick. Nice one. Yeah, that defense is still a question mark. It was a question mark before. I mean, we're essentially going to have what we're going to have. Obviously, Merrick's going to start at free safety. Hobbs is going to be the nickel corner. You could, I wouldn't say Diablo's going to start. He'll probably maybe be in third down packages, like nickel packages, something like that. I mean, you got a lot of young players, and then like you got the Arnett's, the Mullins, Jonathan Abram, and a lot of young talent there. And I'm just wondering how this is all going to come together, and we haven't really seen it yet. I mean, we hear about the practices and the training camp, and everything's going great, but got to see it for real. It's up in the air. I mean, I think offensively we're set with what we have. It's gonna be again on the defense, and if we don't make the playoffs, I mean, unless we have injuries, significant injuries, it's gonna be because the defense wasn't good enough. This is what it is. Yeah, he's brought a few of his guys in. Yes, Dick Vitale, Bilal played for Gus last year. Yeah, so did Casey Hayward. Phelan is a former Charger. Asmar Bilal has way more upside than Max Richardson. Yeah, probably. I'm interested in what they're going to do with this linebacking position. You might be right, though. I think maybe they would if somebody has kind of a embarrassment of riches, so to speak, and they have to get rid of one of their linebackers, and we can pick them up. It's definitely a weakness. I mean, I would say other than the pass rush, I would expect a lot better pass rush this year. Both interior and at the edge. The corners, is Arnett going to start? First, it was going to be Casey Hayward, and then people are saying, no, Arnett's the starter. Mullen's hot and cold. I mean, a lot of people don't talk about that, but I mean, he can be really good, and then that one game last year, it was like Murphy's Law. Everything that kind of could go wrong did go wrong as far as getting burnt, PIs. So again, and then you have a new system, Gus Bradley. It's really up in the air. It's going to be interesting to see. I think this first week against the Ravens is going to be a huge test. What are they going to do with Lamar Jackson? I don't care if all their receivers are hurt. I mean, let's be honest. They ran the ball more than any other team last year. You know? So it's that's their bread and butter. And I know Dobbins is hurt, but Gus Edwards can do the job too. So, and of course you have Lamar. So what are they going to do against that running game? That's big. And the Ravens, I mean, I know they lost Judon, they lost Ngakoue. That defense is still not terrible. So I think we can score against them. I think the offense is going to look pretty good against them. It's the defense. What are they going to do to keep Lamar in check? That's the ultimate question. Let's see what we're saying here in chat. Raider Wolf says, looking at the chart, I think it looks pretty good. Okay. Dick Vitale says, Bilal played for God. Oh, I already said that. Let's see. 4.52 40. 4.88 40 for Richardson. Okay. Yeah, they do what they've said that, and it's not just, I know they said it for the offensive line when they did the turnover. They wanted to get younger and quicker, but definitely on the defense as well. Raider Wolf says, I feel we will make the playoffs. We have an improved lot from last year, especially the defense, which was the main problem. Yeah, I was thinking about making a video, another NFL Network special. They were talking about who they thought would make the playoffs in the NFC and the AFC, and they had the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm just like, okay, you guys really think Carson Wentz is gonna just ball out if he even shows up on the field? You know, he is hurt. And T.Y. Hilton has gotten hurt. I don't know how bad. I don't think it's like season ending, but I think he may or may not play week 1. It's just amazing, you know. I think we're going to have more trouble in the division than outside. I'll say that right now. Even with the Chiefs not really having an offensive line, you still got Mahomes. Their defense is kind of sneaky good, especially the pass rush. Denver, looks like Bridgewater's going to start, which sucks for us. I'd rather have Drew Lock start because he's a piece of crap. I thought Bridgewater would come in about week 4 or 5, but I guess they got their heads out of their ass, and Bridgewater's going to start. Not to say he's a world beater, but he's way better. I think he's way better than Drew Lock. And then San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. Again, I've said that their coaching was holding them back. They have a lot of talent on that team. So, and then Herbert Usually the second year is when the quarterback kind of makes that big jump, and he was already pretty good. So it's going to be interesting. And again, we need to get this defense right. Whatever it is, we need to, exercise the demons of Paul Gunther and do what we need to do to get this right here. So anyway, back on the stream. So get to the Q&A here. So Max Richardson 230. Yeah, I just got the battles. So I think we could make the playoffs. Remember, there's 7 playoff spots. So I think in my original predictions for the season, I think I had us going 9-8. So that could be good for the 6th or 7th spot. But now with Baltimore, I'm really interested. Like I said, I'm gonna put another video out this weekend. So this weekend's Labor Day, so obviously no games. And then next Thursday they have the start of the season. But the Raiders play on Monday night, the week after that. So that'll be their opener against Baltimore. I'm gonna put a video out on that, and obviously, but also the prediction video. I'm not sure if I'll do a live stream on that. I might do that, or just put a straight video out on that. But I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. Obviously, a lot of things have kind of changed my opinions on some teams. Some good, some not so good, and I'm interested to see how Baltimore's going to do this week. They're again, I with Lamar, I mean he can run. I mean, I'm not impressed with him as far as the passing game at all, but he can make plays with his feet and dump it off. I know that gave Gus Bradley's defense fits with Marcus Mariota when we played the Chargers that week when Carr got hurt in the game. So I'm wondering if the team's going to be able to handle that. That's why I'm kind of looking at a scrambling type, RPO type game. Are we going to be able? Is this defense going to be able to handle that week 1? Even with the wide receivers, I mean, I'm a little questioning on that. I'm a little skeptical, to be honest. So, but what I'll do is I'll put a video out on that, probably sometime later in the week, maybe Friday or Saturday, or I don't know if I'll do a live stream. Maybe I will. You guys let me know if you want to do a live stream. Let me know. If not, I'll just put a video out on updating, and I'll just kind of refer back to the previous live stream what I had, and then just kind of walk through week to week. Does anybody else have anything? We're getting right near an hour, and I usually like to cut it off at about an hour. I know, other people go hours and hours. I think that's a little bit too long. I think right about an hour is a good sweet spot for talking about things. We play Dick Vitale. Really enjoyed this. Much appreciated. Thank you. No, thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming here as well. Sandy B says we play the Rams on September 12th at night. Yeah, Monday night game. So yeah, Sandy B is a Chicago Bears fan, if anybody didn't know. So yeah, I think and like I said, I did pick up Justin Fields in my fantasy league as my backup quarterback. So I'm looking for good things from him, except when he plays the Raiders. We don't want that, of course. Yeah, okay, so if anybody does have anything else, I'm going to close that out here. And, thank you for coming. Glad you guys enjoyed this. I like doing this format as far as, the rundown. You can kind of see we have kind of a structured format of what we're going to do. We kind of blend the talking as far as, like a live stream. A live stream, you see somebody just sitting here in front of a camera talking, with also some data, some facts, some graphics, things of that nature. We talked about the cut down. So glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming. As always, go Raiders.